What I would recommend to get more specific is the mixed reference. Even though this is what's used in a textbook, a perfect tenth, I would recommend in practice trying to get better than not saying the notes at all. But the easiest way to communicate would have the notes going up past the octave, and then keep the interval name the same. All right, so let me show you what I mean this way. We have our notes over here. There's the notes in the musical alphabet. We applied the formula to it. So we went from C, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. We pulled out the 7 notes that we're going to be working in, collection of notes related to the key of C. And then we talked about our distances. If I was just measuring from the Ionian, or this Ionian, let's say, and there's 12 notes, we have 11 different distances that are within the same lap. If we're going around the block just one time, we have 11 different distances we can name, and we're naming them based on the major scale. So we have 7 of those 12 locations going around the block that we can actually stop on, destination locations, as opposed to going through the ocean. But what happens if I go around the block twice, or if I think about it as a number line that goes infinitely upwards? We'll talk about going infinitely backwards in a future presentation, but right now we're going infinitely upwards or clockwise around the block. Well, when I get to 12, when I go to step number 12, I could reset like we're going around a clock face. So I could bring this back and just call it a 0 note away perfect first, and just kind of ignore the fact that I've taken a lap around the block. I'm just looking at it as a clock face, where I am on the clock. But again, there is actual distance as well. So the other way I can do it is I can say, well, now I'm 12 steps away, which brings me back to where I started from a note distance, but also it's an octave higher. And then I'm going to keep it as a perfect, because that's our normal convention. And then I could have it as a first, or I could call it a perfect eighth, right? Because the next step up this way, if I go around the block, would be an eighth. Now again, the eighth is something that I think most people will kind of recognize to some degree, because when we say a normal scale, we go 1 through 8. But when we get to the next one, if I go 13, and I say it's going to be a minor 9, then a lot of people aren't going to really get that, particularly on the guitar. So I would think the normal convention would be keep the second term as though you're in the same octave. That gives you the flavor. That's the thing that's going to tell you, oh, it's a third, it's a third-y feel, it's the minor-y feel, it's a major third, it's a major-y feel, it's a perfect, it's a solid type of feel. But you also get then, if you add the notes and the actual distance, then you're going to get differences between the octaves, right? That's, I think, the best, most practical, functional way to say it. But remember, a textbook, as we'll see in a future presentation, I'll show you how to map it out. A textbook will drop the notes, and they'll continue to call this a perfect eighth and then a minor 9, which are, that makes sense if you drop the notes, which are the most important thing, but it's not something that I think is going to be most conducive to communication in practice, particularly in a band kind of setting that I've seen, particularly. And again, now that there's YouTube out there, to do your search it on ChatGPT and ask it how many people are using the term of like a major tenth versus some other term, right? Anyway, so particularly on the guitar. So if I went up 13, I would like to say that's 13 notes away, but I'm still going to keep the flavor of a minor second. So we can still, we could also call it 13 minus 12 would give us a 1. So it's going to be like a 1 note away, minor second, but now it's going to be 1 plus 12, or 1 plus an octave note away, minor second. So then if we have 14 notes away, what would that be? Well, if I went on my fretboard and I simply counted 14 notes between, I went 14 notes up, then how would I figure out what I'm playing? I would subtract 12. 14 minus 12 is going to be like 4 minus 2, which would be 2 notes away. So a 2-note away would be then a major second. So we're talking about a 2-note away plus an octave, or 2-note away plus 7 major second is the way I would like to be able to say that. What if it was 15 notes away? So let's count one out here, and just to check it out, if I was going 15 notes away from this G, there'd be 5 notes between the string here. So that's 5, 10, and then 15 would land me in the Aeolian Ocean. 5, 10, 15. All right. And so what would we call that? Now notice, what would we call that? Well, I'd say the distance would be 15 minus 12 would be 12, 13, 14, 15, or 3. So it would be a third, 3 distance if it was local, which would be a minor third. So it's going to be a 3-note away plus 12, or a 3-note away plus octave, or a 15-note away minor third. So because I started from a Mixolydian, of course, it's not in the key because it has a major third. But if I started on the Aeolian and I went down 15, 5, 10, 15, we land on a 15-note away minor third. All right, let's do the next one. Let's see if I can play with my fretboard more instead of just being abstract over here. So let's see. Let's say we go 16-note away. So if it was 16-note away, how would I figure that out? Well, if I was counting it out from here, it'd be like 5, 10, 15, 16. So this one would, from an XN modal range, has a distance going forward or clockwise, in this case, of 16 notes away, going around the circle, and we're going 16 notes away. So the local distance would be 16 minus 12, or 6 minus 2, 6, 5, 4. So it would be a 4-note away, which I have to know is a major third under this system, right? I'd know that's a major third, and therefore this is a 4-note plus an octave, or 4-note plus 12, or 16-note away major third. All right, so let's do the next one and say, well, what if I go 17 notes away? So if I count it out and I see it's 17, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. So that would be up here. It's 17 notes away. How far is that from a local distance? 17 minus 12 is 7 minus 2, 7, 6, 5. So it would be a 5-note away, which would be a perfect fourth. So now we're going to say this should be then a 5 plus an octave, or 5 plus 12, or 17-note away perfect fourth would be the distance, how you might practically kind of use that. All right, what about the next one? If we go 18 away, what would we call that? So if I'm starting here, I go 18, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, lands me in the Ionian Ocean. It's an XI plus modal range, or a 1.5 modal range, right? So, okay, what's the local distance? Well, 18 minus 12 is like 8 minus 2, 8, 7, 6. So it would be a 6-note away, which we know is the weird one, which is a diminished fifth or an augmented fourth. All right, so that means it's going to be a 6-note away plus an octave, or a 6 plus 12, or a 16-note away diminished fifth or augmented fourth. Now, if I count it up from the Locrian, then I should land on a continent, because that interval should be on a continent, right? So because the Locrian has that crazy flat 5 in it. So it'd be 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. So the NY modal range has an 18-note away diminished fifth, and it also has, of course, a 6-note away diminished fifth, which would be 5, 6 right there, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and do the next one. And all right. And so now we're going to say this one's going to be a 19-note away a distance. So let's say we go 19 away. So that's going to be 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that's going to be an XD modal range if we're measuring it from the Mixolydian. 19 minus 12 would get us to 9 minus 2, 9, 8, 7. That would be a 7-note away perfect fifth. Okay, so that means that it's going to be a 7 plus an octave, or 7 plus 12, or 19 note away, perfect fifth. Okay, so that makes sense. In 19 note away, perfect fifth. Now, if the perfect fifth, if it was 7 notes away, would be 5, 6, 7. So here's the local perfect fifth. Here's the octave up perfect fifth. And you could start to see octave shapes, right? Here to here is an octave shape, all right? So we're going to see how nice the fretboard is to have it with the top string on top, like you're looking at it over the top of the guitar, like a normal person would do it if anyway, it's going to be, let's say we go 20 notes up. So it's going to be 5, 10, 15, and the fault line, this tectonic plate down here, these last two strings shifted up in an earthquake. That's my analogy. So it's got to go 5, 10, 15, and then 20 up here. So it lands you in the Dorian Ocean. So we're in the Dorian Ocean. So 20 minus 12 is going to be like 10 minus 2, which would be 8. So that's going to be an 8 note away, which would normally be a minor 6. So this would be an 8 plus an octave, or an 8 plus 12 minor 6, right? And I could say if it was up here, it'd be 5, 6, 7, 8. There it is in the Dorian Ocean up top. A minor 6 should land us on a continent if we start from like an Aeolian. So if I started from the Aeolian, I went 5, 10, 15, and then up here, because of the kink in the tuning of the fault line, we get to here, we land on an AY modal range. And if I go local distance, 5, 6, 7, 8, we land here. So this would be the 8 note away, minor 6, and this would be an 8 plus an octave, or 8 plus 12, or 20 note away, minor 6. All right, so let's go ahead and see if I can do the next one. Wait, I need to erase this too. Okay, so now we're on 21 away. So 21 away, we're going long distance here. So it's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 1. All right, 21 away. So that would be 21 local distance minus 12 would be like 11 minus 2, which would be 9, right? So it'd be a 9 note away major 6, 9 note away major 6. So there we have it. Local distance would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here, this would be an octave up, but I'm still going to call it, so this would be a 9 note away major 6, and this would be a 9 plus 12, or 9 plus octave, or 21 note away major 6. See, that gives me the flavor. It's still a major 6. It's going to sound major 6-y, but it's different as well. Let's keep that one there so if I mess up on the math. Aren't you an accountant? Yeah, I might mess up the math. Okay, so it's a 22 note away. So it's going to be 5, 10, 15, and then 20 out here, 21, 22. So it's an XY modal range, and it's 22. So 22 local distance, 22 minus 12 would be like it would be 10 minus 22 minus 12 would be 12 minus 2, which would be 10. I thought it was going to be the 9. See, now that messed me up. It was supposed to help me, and it messed me up. It's going to be 10. So it's a 10 note away major 7. Okay.